Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Welcome if you're currently here in the live premiere. Appreciate it. Today, we're going to be doing bitty bit stuff. I'm going to be sharing with you the rough location of where Ed Harsharger or Ed Harsharger resides at now, because with time, he did move away from the area of either Lucin or Montello around there, moved on elsewhere, kind of like Don Hatley. So we'll do a bit of a map analysis today of that person. We can also refer back to Don Hatley in case people forgot or are new to this information. So we'll take a look there as well. Are we focusing right on in, zoning onto the very specific spot? Well, with Don Hatley, that is possible, but I don't know if it's practical, okay? If you think about it, if Candice Cooley has told Justin Rounds off for publicly calling out Don Hatley, as well as saying, I'm coming to maybe get you or something, it's probably not going to be good if then I say, well, here's the location. I just don't think so. And I do not want to go down the same line in that sense with this community and theme and case when, there's been all kinds of stuff going on in the background with other channels, specifically this case and environment, okay? I'm sure Justin Rounds knows where Don Hatley is at, okay? But we can just take a rough look at these places, especially Ed Harsharger. I prefer saying Harsharger, it sounds better, and there's already enough burgers all over the place, okay? So yeah, we got a little map analysis today. We can check the comments out of the previous video. Not too many to get through, so that'll be fine. And then do a bit of talk time. I know someone said it would be good to look at the origins of how conflict started with all these people and characters. Not so much that we're doing that today, but we can talk around it and people can share their thoughts as to when it truly begun. That's if you wish to talk about it. If you don't want to talk about that stuff and you want something more light-hearted, or you just want to focus on Dylan Rounds, then feel free to do that in the chat. That's why the live chat box is there, okay? And also be sure to check my previous video out, as well as my earlier one today, or should I say earlier one tonight, because I actually did an Idaho 4 case coverage of the latest news around Brian Kohberger, another burger, right? So make sure to check that. I'll provide a link down below in the pinned comment section, okay? Also, shout out to Toe Jam for their presence last night in the super chat. It was very good of them. And I think Graham too. And if I missed anyone else out, shout out to them. Toe Jam seems like a good individual. Once again, good sense of humour. Kind of like Dale, kind of like Graham. Okay. I don't know what goes on in the background, to be honest. I'll be honest with you, there was a time where in like the early stages when the likes of these people came on in, like Dale, Graham and some others, I remember some people in the background were calling me out and saying, why are you supporting them, or why are you supporting this person who does this or does that? And it's like, well, first of all, I don't even know who these people are to begin with. Second of all, simply communicating with one another isn't a sign of support in that sense. So going a bit too far there. And thirdly, where's that proof of the supposed stuff going in the background? It's the truth or not, or just rumours, I don't know, okay? I just base it off people's behaviour when they're here. And most of the time, good behaviour, which I acknowledge and appreciate, okay? So maybe we can get more into the origins later on in today's video. We did finish off on the Crime Watchers forum website to do with Dylan Rounds, so that's all up to date. I did go on the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page, no updates there. Nothing about the weather in Lucin, it seems pretty quiet. More unreported news. But luckily, I covered it on my channel, so that's something. One thing to look about, and I'll apply it to any of you. So if any of you are still interested in Dylan Rounds, whether you're on Twitter or maybe more so Facebook, whenever you're on Facebook, besides looking at Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page, Justin Rounds profile, sometimes just type in a keyword like, or words, Lucin, Utah, and just press search. Scroll down and see what people post, because people will be posting with the keywords because either they're from there or they've visited and they're referring to the place. That's how the whole weather report came about, by an individual within Lucin at the time that posted a photo onto Facebook, right? So it'd be interesting to see if anyone else is posting anything on there, right? If you got a Facebook account, that could be another avenue to look through, and if things dry up, right? Anything else? I know some people said there was a Montello Facebook group. Don't know as much about that. If Ellenberg is watching, or Weezer, or anyone else, Montello locals, are you aware of the Montello Facebook group, the private one? Are you a part of it? Just a little question there, okay? Anything else in the background? I think Badger is getting a supply of tomatoes from Bellevue, so I guess that's a positive. Obviously, Weezer would provide him, but those tomatoes have gone a bit soggy because of the flooding in recent time, but I'm sure they'll dry out in time. Anyway, I think we'll probably get onto the comments straight away. Then we can transition into the maps, because I know people like that. Let's head on right now. Right, so I'm just going to adjust it and see what's been put here. Jacqueline Rampley. I heard about Candice Cooley owing someone money before I heard of Jim Terry. So that's very interesting. My question is, Jacqueline, when you heard about Cooley owing money to an individual, okay, that was before you heard of Jim Terry. But was this before Dylan Rounds went missing, or during the disappearance case of Dylan Rounds? Just want to know, okay? Because it can happen where you might come across these random independent people that say this or say that, but they might have originally stemmed back from Jim Terry, even if you didn't know who Jim Terry was at the time, but you may have come across one of his minions or followers, right? So feel free to answer. Tom Evans, what do we have here? So the key thing is with Tom Evans, he does start discussions and questions, conversations. So people in the chat, people watching, and even those in the background who may not know what to say or have much on their mind, feel free to engage with Tom Evans, because he's a good individual and he does answer stuff and come out with different discussions. So feel free to share your own thoughts, even if it's only a small reply. It doesn't matter. People in the background, just feel free to say bits and bobs, okay? We have seen the odd few new individuals here and there. It's always good when you get fresh faces, like what Tom Evans says, because, you know, they might have a different point of view, a different perspective on the case, or a particular individual within it. So, you know, fresh faces are welcome. People in the background lurking in the darkness are welcome to comment as well, even if it's just a little hello. It doesn't matter, okay? So what does Tom say here? I'd like to know what the chat thinks about the garbage that Brenner removed from the shed. So this is to do with spring cleaning, June the 2nd, 2022. Tom says, what could it have been that Boxelder and the family missed when they went through the shed? Did they notice the spot that the FBI dug up? You'd think so. With Candice Cooley, although never really referring to it specifically until, I guess, the last interview, by East Idaho News, talking about the final hit, 2 spots, undisclosed place, as well as the shed where the dogs were, which I guess basically meant the hole. It's the only time we ever really heard it mentioned. And I think what Tom is also referring to here is that supposedly the family, police, both or one of them, were already in the shed, grain shed, looking around. And then a day or two after, that's what followed with the spring cleaning. So yeah, it's bad that Brenner got the chance and opportunity to go through the shed, rummage about and take stuff out. But if people before Brenner were able to go inside and search about, why did they not find anything? You know, why not? Should we do a poll right now? Bit too soon? Never mind. The poll can be, under the conditions, or no, I don't know about under the conditions. Let's just do it very vague because I've never really heard it mentioned clearly before, right? Just want to see if there's a consensus, an agreement. So, do you believe, is it true that Candice Cooley, Justin Round's family, police, search and rescue, had access to the Grangeshed property? Is it true that they were able to look through the shed property a day or two before the spring cleaning when Brenner cleared the place out of potential evidence? Is it true? Yes? No? Or true, false? Feel free to vote. And if you don't know, there'll be an option there as well. If you genuinely have no clue, feel free to choose that option, right? Because it makes me think, if that spring cleaning never happened, right? Would the family or the police, would they have eventually found something of interest in the shed? If they had an opportunity before the stuff was taken away, why did they not find it? How concealed was those items in the shed? You know, was it the stuff buried in that hole? Was it behind one of the bookshelves? I don't know. I'm not sure. But if they had an opportunity, they wasted the chance because the stuff was taken away. Where did it end up? I don't know. Could you develop a pattern in which, like, the phone was disposed at the pond, anything else in between, Brenner's shirt with Dylan's blood on found in his trailer, you know, not exactly disposed of far away, right? So where do you think the bags would end up? Further away or within the same area, proximity? I wonder. Makes you think. And of course, I understand it's definitely worth doing a focus on the spring cleaning and the possibilities of where it could have ended up, but we don't have that many clues or indications. We don't have any phone pings, do we? Actually, that is my question, right? We've always heard about Dylan Round's phone pings. Right? That's all it's ever been referred to. Not so much about Brenner or Don Hatley. It might have come up. They might already know of that stuff in the background, but Candice Cooley, Justin Rounds have never really talked about it openly public. Only about the phone pings of Dylan's phone, and that is all. I don't understand that. Do any of you understand why it's only limited to what we hear about? Why can't we hear about Brenner's phone pings and where they ended up? You know, why not? And that's the other thing I would say. If the family have no clue, even the police have no clue where Brenner disposed of those bin bags, right? Well, if Brenner had his phone on him at the time, wherever he went, can't you just check the phone pings, the timestamps on that day, and just follow that direction? You get what I'm saying? Now, you got to look at it this way. Is there already enough evidence to prove Brenner is guilty? For most part of it, though the final nail in the coffin, no pun intended, is Dylan Round's remains for a successful conviction rate, right? Without, it's not 100% guaranteed. But do you think that the bin bags with hold evidence of high significance? Once again, another great poll, but I just think it's a bit too tight and close together. Maybe we can ask them later on in this video if there is time. Okay? Just make you think. If the bin bags are of evidence and high significance, then they should be tracked down regardless. If there are phone pings of Brenner, Don Hatley on that day when they supposedly left the property with the bin bags in the back of the truck, as Candice Cooley says, supposedly going down to Wendover, then follow those phone pings. Follow the timestamps at certain stops. If they suddenly stop in the middle of the desert or near to a lake, a dried up one, a wash, then go down to that spot. But that hasn't happened. Of course, the main focus has been trying to find Dylan Rounds, but if for whatever reason the dismemberment was true, and Dylan or part of him was within those bin bags, then searching for Dylan everywhere but the bin bags could be pointless, right? You need to be going after the bin bags. And even if it wasn't remains and it's just another form of evidence, it's still important, right? You want as much evidence as possible. And you never know. Some evidence which appears not so significant could end up, I don't know, creating a new lead. If there's any DNA upon those items, it could incriminate another person who may have assisted. Because Candice Cooley did say Don Hatley and Brenner were together on a specific day in June, early June, after the spring cleaning. Maybe we can do a focus video on that next time. Just as a heads up, it might sound like I'm repeating myself, okay? But I will do a focused video on this spring cleaning, like a follow-up, to keep the discussions alive, because I do feel that the bin bag situation is a very important subject and it has faded away, right? Both in the eyes of maybe the family and also people online. So we'll definitely need to talk about that in the next video. So there we go. Through these discussions, we've already unlocked a new video idea for next time. Boom. What's the response? So Tom Evans trying to tag Black Dove. I don't know if you can tag people in the comment section. I don't know if it works. I know it works in the description of your own video or in your own community post or title of video, but I don't know in comment section if you're on somebody else's channel. I don't know if it does work. What do you say? Black Dove, can you enlighten us on the hole in the shed or the garbage bags? Also, Bob Farrell, what do you know about this? So Bob Farrell, I don't know. From everyone in the chat watching right now, from what you've seen and heard of Bob Farrell, what has Bob Farrell focused more on? The what do you call it? The baseline linear story of how things played out? Or has Bob ended up going down the dark pathway of mostly rumours, possible BS, slightly exaggerated information, etc.? Which pathway has Bob Farrell focused on the most? Just let me know your thoughts, okay? Once again, it's another poll, but I just don't know if I'm going to make people tired, because it's so back-to-back. It might get to the point where I'm like, screw it, I'll just put poll after poll, just so we don't forget afterwards. It clogs up the drains, I know, but you just got to be fast firing with the fingers and click vote as soon as possible, right? So we can talk about a bit about Black Dove too. Jacqueline saying Catherine S. needs to listen to Jim Terry or Pancakes if she wants to know what real stalker behaviour is like. I guess so. And in a way, they've done, well, not Jim Terry, but Pancakes did a certain set of videos on Dylan Rounds consistently. So if Catherine's going to call me out, then is she going to be calling others out? You don't know. And as well, I think Catherine came from No Thanks channel. So did Vaundis, the witch's broomstick, if you remember. So once again, we just see these very obvious patterns of behaviour who are associated with certain channels out there, in which those channels might have a certain behaviour too, right? People will say, oh, don't generalise. The key thing behind generalisation is an on-the-spot accuracy test to prevent and try and reduce suffering, some form of it. And it has worked. Okay, so no need to change that. Cleo with the banana emoji, that's because the banana made an appearance last night. I'm a little bit disappointed. I don't think as many people noticed it, unless it's become so normal that people don't even question it anymore if items like that pop up. There was a time I had a bit of a fruit salad in the background. I had a banana and 2 apples, but people thought it was some kind of device. But don't worry, I brought it to light, closer to the screen, and explained it. Jacqueline saying, did the same person tell both stories? I mean, the second story of the key being there for searchers, police, etc. Who told that version? Well, supposedly Taylina, Kurt Wadsworth's daughter, said that. Okay. Got Glenn as well. Hi, Jacqueline. Jacqueline, very funny with a goat. I'll probably get my butt kicked for laughing at this. So just as a bit of context, the video last night was a hybrid one. It was a focus on Dylan Rounds, the first half. Then the second half was just lightheartedness, focusing on some grainy Graham time, just to help him in some way. And people thought it was funny, and looks like Jacqueline did as well, so that's all good. So hopefully people understand that. As out for the comments, there we go. So we got through them pretty smoothly. And, you know, even in a small amount of comments, we've already generated new ideas for videos. So in a way, I guess shout out to Tom Evans, because indirectly he has generated a new video for next time on Dylan Rounds. You see how simple it is? So obviously, the more people engaging in chat, and even if it's newer faces, it can help keep the case alive. Even just simply new people coming on in watching, that can help keep the case alive. And of course, the longer the case goes on for, the more important it needs to, you know, keep being alive, because that's when it ends up fading away in most other cases. So yeah. Anyway, I think it's now time we transition onto the maps, and I'll share with you roughly at Harsharger, where he's supposedly now living at. Here we are, so I'll just need to navigate, okay, and get back to where we originally were at, Lucin, Utah for now. Take in mind, yes, there are those other forms of being able to use the other maps, like Bing maps and maybe Scribble maps, etc. I feel I'll use them when we do lock on to a particular place of interest which needs more relevant, up-to-date imagery, okay? Just want to check through the photos here in case we've missed anything. 2022, 22. Yeah, so nothing new here. No one's updated or added any photos. That is a shame. Anyway. USA. The first place what we're going to be looking at is not the Owl's Perch. That was from yesterday. No. The first place we're looking at is where Ed Harsharger, or Ed Harsharger, now lives at, okay? I don't know exactly when, but it was back in 2022 when, at some point, I guess, during the early mid-range days of the Dylan Rounds disappearance case, Ed Harsharger ended up moving away, right? And I think someone recently in the chat said it was planned before Dylan went missing. Like, it was in talks to begin with. That's what Ed wanted. So maybe it makes it less about Dylan and more about what he wants. But you never know, right? It does seem a bit odd how people end up moving away after Dylan Rounds has gone missing, right? Sometimes you can associate that behaviour with escaping because they know the secrets and truth. Get away from the place. Keep a low profile. You never know. There's no harm in questioning. So it's USA Tetonia. Tetonia, I think that's how you spell it. Tetonia, Idaho. So not many search results come up, and that is very good, okay? You remember when we were looking at Oakley in the past? You had Oakley in Utah. You had Oakley in Idaho or something. It was a little bit confusing, right? But here, it's just simply flat out Idaho. You got Tetonia, Idaho, the city. So it's a city in Idaho, okay? Tetonia Club, Bar and Grill, Tetonia Drive. Okay, fair enough. So this is where Ed Harsharger now lives at. Do we have the specific location, house, trailer, spot? No, but that's fine at this moment in time. Just want to provide to you like a basic rough understanding of where he's currently at, because I know people within the case community have felt that the focus, the shift has moved away from Ed, and it's always good to refer back to him because he does play some kind of role in the case, whether it be a central one or in the background noise, such as if he's had arguments with Dylan, arguments with either Justin or Don, you know, etc. So what we can do is just head on to this city in Idaho. I guess what we do need to acknowledge is there a bit of a pattern forming with Idaho? Maybe. You got to understand, well, with Don Hatley. Don Hatley is in a city called Casper, and that's in Wyoming. So that's in a completely different, distance, which is interesting. But regardless of distance, that's simply because his family, whatever family, lives in that area. So he's gone that way. It makes sense. Is he living with family? Maybe, maybe not. Is he near to family? Much nearer now than he was back in Lucin. So it explains that direction going that way. As for Ed Harsharger, why did Ed go to Teutonia, the city in Idaho? Is it because family are there, or he just wanted a change of scenery? I'm not too sure. But if any of you know, feel free to fill in the blanks. Now, the actual city itself looks absolutely tiny, but maybe if we zoom out, it will appear bigger, okay? So what we can do is just take a look at the photos to be introduced to the area so we know what's going on, and then maybe we can do a street view, okay? And then if down the line we need to do like a map analysis of some key areas like bars, grills, we can do. And you might be wondering why? Well, it could be the place where Ed hangs out, right? These type of people seem to like going to bars. They drink alcohol, maybe hang out with others, right? You see that pattern. So it with Don Hatley, the biker groups, biker clubs, biker bars. So if you narrow it down and you wanted to do a stakeout, or you did what like Justin Rounds did and you hang outside one of the bars, like in Montello Saddle Saw Bar, maybe you can do the same here. Not that it's 100% advised, but it's just a suggestion, okay? So let's take a look at the photos. So we're introduced with the place. Obviously, right off the bat, once again, it's like farmland, an area quite rural and somewhat quiet. Don't know what the population is, but if any of you know, feel free to add that figure in. You see the mountains in the background. It looks a bit misty and dull and dark there. It does also make you think, is Ed living in a trailer or is he living in a house? When it comes to Don Hatley in Lucin, Utah originally was living in a trailer. Then when he went down to Casper, Wyoming, he's now living in a house. Okay, so he's actually upgraded. There you go. So is this more recent? Oh, 2019, so that's a shame. But you get the idea of the snow, winter time, right? So you apply that to 2022 and early 2023, you can imagine it, right? It can be a bit thick, heavy, long-lasting, kind of problematic. But you get a good distance in the distance. Yeah. Got some water as well. Is that like a pond or a lake? Not too bad. Just feel free to share your thoughts, thoughts on why did Ed go down to Teutonia? What's he doing there? Is it temporary, permanent? Is there anyone down there Ed knows, meets up with? Feel free to add on. I don't know what we've got here, like a barn or something near to a farm. I think further on up is railroad tracks, maybe. You got the overhead power lines too. Got a good view way over that way. Very green, grassy, and some farms in the distance. Don't know what the property's like over there, the land, whether it's owned by different parcels, like how we've seen in Lucin, Utah. The mountains in the background with the snow upon them. More water. One of those again. Is that it? Okay, so the images are very lacking, but then again, for such a small place, maybe it's no surprise, because look at it. There's Teutonia right here. You see the outline of it. It is tiny compared to the likes of Casper, Wyoming, compared to even Wendover, compared to especially Ogden and Salt Lake City, or near to. Yeah, this is a big downgrade in size, but for someone like Ed Harsharger, it's probably best for him. Are there any RV parks in the area? I don't know. But maybe we can take a closer look at some point. If we zoom on out, how far away is it from certain places, though? Idaho Falls is over here. Okay. Idaho Falls is the area where on June the 10th, Candice Cooley, Justin Rounds came down with the K9 unit, and that's where Ron's Tires and whatever did that barbecue cook-off to raise money for those volunteer groups that have assisted in trying to search for Dylan Rounds and others. Burley, Idaho, over this way. So there's a bit of distance. There is. So Teutonia is closer to Yellowstone National Park. Wow. Wait, is that the Yellowstone National Park? Can anyone confirm in the chat? Is that the Yellowstone? If it is, isn't Yellowstone National Park a missing 411 case area where people go around and disappear? I mean, there seems to be a bit of dense vegetation or something. What side is that on? Oh, wow. Wow, Teutonia is near to the border of Wyoming. And Wyoming is where Don Hatley's at. Ooh. Interesting when people start living kind of close to each other still, isn't it? Yeah, all the way down here. And then over the border, because you can see that line going down the Wyoming border. Going on here, can we see Casper? I don't know if we can see it immediately. I can type it in shortly, don't worry. There we go, Casper. Casper is down here. This is where Don Hatley is now living. You can see how much more dense it is, and he's within one of the houses in this area, right? So, Don Hatley, living in a very quiet area, has moved to a much busy, populated place. Ed Harsharger, in a quiet area, moved to maybe an even quieter area, right? It's just interesting how Casper is classified as a city in Wyoming, and you look at the sheer size of the place. And then you go to Teutonia, which is classified as a city as well, and then look how small it is. Now, I guess it may incorporate the outer skirt as well, possibly. You can see quite a bit of farming. You can see the pivots in the area, right? Does anyone know what is Ed Harsharger retired or not? Can anyone confirm? Is Ed retired or not? And what was Ed doing before he retired? Did he do any farm work, any assistance or helping there? Anyone can fill it in. Feel free to do so. That'll be appreciated. Okay? I feel what I might do, because as I said to you, it would be good to have maybe not timestamps, but markers of where all these key characters are at and where they live. Okay, like currently up to date. And I think it is worth doing now because we have an idea. Some people we can't mark out because they're in a jail or prison, so it's kind of pointless there. But for the ones that are walking free, kind of like with Justin's post saying, with the Benjamin Franklin quote, 3 people holding a secret. If 2 are dead, then the other one is going to hold the secret and no one else will know. So there is a 3rd person involved in the case, including the other one too, so to make it 3, 2 people out there who haven't been taken in yet, let's say. If they're out there, and some of the characters we're looking at, if we can mark and map them out on the map, then maybe it's easier to follow and track, right? Then we can truly measure the distance between each place from location to location and go from there. No harm. Yeah, if more than one person was involved in Dylan's case, disappearance and murder and possible desecration, Do you think these people are likely to reoffend again in the future or not? Anyway, I think it's now time we take a closer look, right? Right into the heart of Teutonia, right down the middle. Doing these specific locations actually reminds me of one of the first times I did that when we went down to Park Valley. You remember Park Valley? I think it might have been in Idaho. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's probably away from Idaho, to be honest, but it was further northeast, if I'm correct in saying. It could be in Utah, either Utah or Idaho. And it was Park Valley, something to do with Chase Venstra. There was a cemetery over that way. There was talks about that, rumours and gossip, which we had a brief look at. And just very random, okay, just to acknowledge, when we went to Park Valley for the first time, that was also the first time received first ever super chat on the channel, which was by Cuppy. I remember that. So it just appeared on the screen. It was a big surprise. So it was really good to see. And now we continue the pattern on whilst coming down to here for a specific reason, because it's linked to a specific individual that is actually down here. Okay. Are we gonna meet are we gonna meet Ed Harsharger on the maps? No, because it's not up to date. But we get an idea of the buildings in the area, what they look like, what they're all about. That appears to be some kind of Caribbean cafe or something. I don't know if that says Sonola. Or Sun Shack. Oh no. Oh, that explains why the Shack lady has gone quiet. Shack lady decided to go on down to Teutonia to open up the Sun Shack. Wow. Wow. What do you people in the chat think right now? The Sun Shack. Would you go down there? Seems a small building. What else do we have here? What does that say? Feel Good Instrument, home of cacophone. What's a cacophone? Oh, it's kicked me off. It kind of seems a bit quiet in a way. For sale. Badger Creek. Oh, Badger, you've made an appearance. What are you doing down here in Teutonia? You know, I know you said, Badger, that you're thinking of moving from YouTube. Is this why? Because you're setting up a new business? So, yeah, there you go. Badger Creek Cafe. There we go. Badger is busy with a new cafe. It's all sorted now. And to be honest, that Badger almost looks like the same one in your profile picture where it looks kind of fat and it's stood up on its two legs. There we go. What does it say on that bench? Don't drink and drive, but the missed out the drive part. Okay. Ashton Teutonia Trail State Park and Ruby Carson Memorial Park, Teutonia. There's a little sign there. Welcome. More farm-related stuff over that way in the distance. Is there many people squatting in Teutonia? I wonder. We don't have to spend too long here, of course. Just a rough look. What's going on here? There's a horse. There's a horse in the background. Uh-oh. Horse watch. Oh, wow, we've gone back in time now. Oh, no, I'm stuck. I'm stuck in time. Get me out. Actually, how do I get out of the area? There we go. Right, so we're probably best not go that way. We'll go up there. Go up here. We might have been actually going away from the area. Not much stands out there, to be honest with you. What do we have here, then? Seeking or unique with a love heart on it. Oh, what's going on here? Made in USA, furniture, accents. What, does the furniture talk in an Italian accent? Interesting. Gifts, jewellery, that's for Betty Hayward. Rugs and lighting. Indiana, your rugs have arrived. What else do we have here? Very woody. Horn mounting living. Our kind of kink. What? Why does it say that? Oh, one of a kind. Oh, I misread that. Sorry. What else do we have back here? We've got a little fountain. Some bits and bobs. Is Ed Harsharger really into that stuff? Probably not. We're just basically scouting the area out at the moment as possible places Ed Harsharger could hang around. I mean, appears to be a gas station here, Sinclair, so maybe Ed will visit this place specific if it's the only one in the area, because he'll need to refill whatever truck he drives. Does anyone know what truck he does drive? Is that the church? Of course, yes, I think that's a church. Is that a school bus or a prison bus? I always get confused in the US. You got yellow school buses and then yellow prison buses. Teton County Schools. Oh, okay. Is this a school/church or the school trip down to the church? Okay. Let's go a bit further up this way because there appears to be a few more buildings over here and just see. I know Tasha said there was a lot of tapping in the background. That's because I was tapping away on the screen. Can't help it. Teutonia Peaks Lodge RV Park. There we go. RV Park, place of interest. Could Ed Harsharger be living at the Lodge RV Park? I don't know. Do you have to pay to go down there? Can people stay there permanently, or is it only temporary? If like you're going down there visiting for the weekend, for a week, and then you got to move on. Does anyone know? Because it all depends what living conditions Ed is in. If he's lived in a trailer, did he move his trailer onto Teutonia, or has he got a house instead? That's the question, isn't it? We can't seem to go into the area, which is a shame. But in terms of the size of it, it's fair size, right? And you can see some of the trailers parked around the side and the back. Like over there, you can see that white RV trailer, middle of the screen. Yeah. Interesting, right? I don't know how I should word the title of this video. Do I say Ed Harsharger or Ed Harsharger? Maybe I spell it one way, and then if people say it's wrong, I'll change it after. Oh, there we go. So a bit more farming. Buildings aren't too bad. Now, is the population greater or smaller than Montello? Right, okay. So we basically reached the end of that. Mostly like just houses people live in and some farms from the looks of it. Teutonia Bar. Oops. Let's get rid of that. Type in bar. Badger Creek Cafe. John C. Berry and Sons. Oil Change Service Gas Company. So it looks like there's only a cafe. What about the bar and grill? Dave's Pub. Oh, well, there you go. You got the Teutonia Club, Bar and Grill, and Dave's Pub. And Badger Creek Cafe. So I think we've already got our planned visits checked out. More so for a future video, just so it's kind of relevant to the case, but also there's a split and understanding of a bit of lightheartedness, okay? As you know, like how we've done it in the past, when we were looking at Chase Venstre, Ogden, that area, and looking at the KFCs and the Little Caesar pizzas, most people would think, how does that even link, and why are you even looking at fast food places and images and reviews? Well, it's because they were the places Chase Venstre was seen at on CCTV at the time on the day Dylan went missing. So that's why we did that. We can do the same here when Understanding the locations and the type of places Ed could visit whilst he's living here, okay? And we do have a couple on screen. We'll be looking closer at each one in another video, okay? Hopefully people understand there. And it can be a bit more light-hearted as well, because I know people need that at times. So I'll take that into mind. They all seem to be in a line with one another. And to be honest, we probably actually passed them when... Oh no, did we pass them? Maybe we did, but it depends. What about the Sun Shack? Does the Sun Shack not come up? Might have to type that in, as well as the RV park as well. Yeah. Also, just to let you know, because of the timing, I did actually do a video earlier on today, so not as much time to do this one. Okay. Hopefully you understand. Right, so yeah, you've got Tetonia there, where Ed Harsharger is at. How long will he be there for? I don't know. And then you've got Wyoming, Casper, where somewhere within a city, Don Hatley is at. What about the distance? True distance. We're not going to do true distance because it'll take a bit too long, but if we did it very roughly, 257 miles, maybe round it up a bit, take in mind the actual pathways, roadways, dirt roads. It could be maybe maximum 280 miles or under, right? Fair bit of distance, but they're kind of next to each other in terms of like the border in a way. I don't know if Ed... Is Don Hatley friends with Ed Harsharger? Does anyone know? If they are friends, it could explain why they're kind of closer to one another. And if not that, but they are friends, there could be chances that they might meet up at some point in the future. It's another thing to acknowledge, right? I mean, I guess the other thing is, some of these characters might not be guilty. And if no one talked about rumours in the beginning, then we probably would never have heard of these people ever before. Is it a bad thing that we've heard of these people? I wouldn't say it's bad. It opens up new possibilities to look at. The only thing we're lacking is the evidence, and I don't think the family or search rescue police have found much either to do with other individuals involved. That is a shame. But you never know, there's always twists and turns around the corner, right? So if you do have any additional points or you want to fill in any gaps to the questions I asked earlier on in this video, feel free to list them down below in the comment section so they're easier to read and catch up on. That'd be appreciated. If you have any questions of your own, list them down below too, okay? If you have suddenly joined, welcome. If you actually want to see the rough location of where Ed H is at, rewind back. What we are going to briefly touch upon now is the conflict. Conflict overall may have originated more so from the Dylan Rounds case. With time, it's branched out, it's moved away, which is a positive. The reason why it might feel to some people that it's still close in proximity is because some individuals still covered the Dylan Rounds case. And some of those people will have audience members that might not be as interested in the Dylan Rounds case, but are interested enough to just join on in and chat with people in the chat, which then leads to stuff they are normally involved in coming over here or over to another channel which covers the case. Can you stop it? Not really, but can you slightly change the thoughts of, oh, it's the end of the world to maybe it's not that bad? Yeah, that is possible, that is doable, right? As said, there was the odd comment recently, I think it was by Spectator, talking around, maybe it would be interesting to do the beginning, the origins of what happened and how everything broke up and went downhill. That could be worthwhile, but could it take quite some time to figure out? I would say so, because with there being so much drama, conflict, accusations, events, bad things going on, levels of harassment or stalking or name calling, insults, to document it all would mean looking back from the start, the sheer amount and volume, probably quite a lot. All those live streams where drama may have taken place and phone calls made, hours, 5-10 hours worth, hundreds, 200 hours worth of footage out there to look through. It seems great, immense, and because it is interesting, but maybe not as important as the Dylan Rounds case, you think it's almost like it's not a main, what do you call it, focus point. It doesn't really need to be done. Though you can compromise, you can negotiate, and that is, we briefly touch upon it and talk about it here and there in the videos, looking back like how we did with the case and questioning certain stuff. Like right now, I could ask people in the chat the simple question of, at the very beginning of the Dylan Rounds case, was everyone on neutral, equal terms? Was it okay at the very beginning with everyone or most people? Yes, no. I could ask you that question and you can answer and expand in the chat, right? And then we can go from there. I could ask you the question of, what was the first moment of conflict? Do you know the exact event, factor which triggered it? If not, can you at least remember who was involved in a bust-up, scrap, disagreement? Was it between Jim Terry Pancakes, or was it between two lesser-known individuals at the time? You get what I'm saying? Build it up from there. And some people could say, does it really need to be looked at? It's in the past. It might be in the past, but it's still ongoing, this long-term grudges going on. If you can understand how it started, maybe you can understand how to stop it or reduce it. Now, is it my goal and my focus to do that like Superman? No, because technically it's not my problem. If I try to solve it, it becomes my problem or I become part of the problem. Does that make sense? Then you could add on and say, well, why are you still talking about it here and there? As said, negotiating, talk a little bit without going all in. It enables you watching to interact and share your thoughts and your knowledge, because I'm sure you've got more knowledge about that messy stuff compared to me, because I've not been really involved in it. Though I can still ask the right questions and maybe you can answer. And we get a better understanding. We've managed it with Dylan Rounds. Dylan Rounds, looking back where there was a lot of noise, confusion, sieved through it, asked the right questions, got some decent answers, under control. We can do the same once again with the conflict, right? So, might not be going in heavy or hard, but this part of the video at least is providing people the opportunity to talk about the conflict and the origins of it, right? I do remember seeing the odd flashback video or looking back at an old live stream where all these different characters are talking, laughing, smiling, and you look now, they're nowhere near one another. They've all, dispersed, separated, right? Now, just want to briefly touch upon the frustration with some people when it comes to drama, right? Linda will probably not approve of this, Linda gushing or whatever. But the reality is, Linda gushing is a good example of someone that can't stand drama and doesn't get themselves involved in drama, nor starts any drama. She is what she is. She says she doesn't like it. She doesn't involve herself in it. She doesn't start any trouble. So, perfect example. Linda is here to learn about the case, make sense of stuff, have the odd laugh, I guess. And from there, maybe Linda doesn't agree with what I say, but that's how it seems to be with time. Okay, so Linda, what you see is what you get, so that's fine. But you will get many other people out there that will say, Oh, I'm so tired of the drama. I want it to stop. I'm so tired of it. But I'm currently in a stream, a live chat, or the comment section where all the drama is happening, but I'm still associating myself with it, even though saying I don't like it. What's going on? You will get some leniency where you get audience members, fans of a channel where the drama didn't originate from, but it's dragged on over like a dark cloud, and it might have dragged in that channel owner into the mess. The viewers that are present and are loyal, who continuously watch even during the times of drama, the reason why they're saying they're sick and tired of it is because they're not here for that. They were here before the drama came. They're here because they want to see this channel talking about other stuff. But at this moment in time, that channel can't because of other stuff going on in the background. Maybe you could use that as an example towards Bella V. Although it might not be all the time, there might be instances, moments where there could be drama, there could be conflict, and the viewers are a bit annoyed by it because they don't want it. They don't want it here, and they were here before it came. So I understand that. That makes sense. But then you will get other people who will say, oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. It needs to stop. But they're kind of fueling it at the same time. Does that make sense? Now, before we go any further, what about me, my position when it comes to it? What's my thoughts on drama? Is it needed? Is it necessary? Should it all stop? Well, when it comes to my coverage of it, right? Do I involve myself in the drama? Do I dump myself in the deep end? Not that I'm aware of. And if to some people it comes off as that's what I do, well, doesn't really leave any scars behind. Doesn't really do much bad at all, to be honest. Jump on in, cover it, okay. Other people, 0 Fs given. The odd name calling, oh, he's a bit of a beep, he's a beep, and that's it. Wow. If you think about it, I've been called out more, I've been called out in a more negative way when I wasn't talking about drama and I was simply focusing on the case. Recent time. Supposedly from people that have watched some of Jim Terry's videos, how they might have called me this and that, that's fine. Yes, it could be negative, but never mind. That's just what they think. That's okay. They're being honest. But that happened when I wasn't even talking about drama. It's when I was covering the Dylan Rounds case. Just like in the past with the Kenny Veach case, receiving all kinds of resistance. So for people to say, don't involve yourself into the drama or a certain situation because it's only going to create problems, that's not the case. There's more problems away from the drama than when you involve yourself within it or just put yourself in the middle of it. But then again, that's my reality. Other people's are different, but hopefully you understand that, okay? So if I do step on in, I do come on out on the other side, unharmed, unscathed, and for most part of it, under control. And that's it, we just move on from that, right? When people talk about disruption in my chat, is that as a result of me covering drama or starting drama or involving myself in it? No. It's just simply because a wave of new people have come on over because of drama happening elsewhere where people are sick and tired of it, but they come here where it's drama-free or reduced. Okay? There can be a bit of tension and friction within here if you get more people coming on over. More people equal higher chances of something going wrong. It is what it is, right? Just think if there was about, that won't be the case, but if there was about, I want to be realistic, 200 people watching all of a sudden, probably high chances of drama, right? Because there's more people all of a sudden on the spot, right? There have been times where drama has happened elsewhere, then it's led to someone losing out, channel being destroyed, lost, terminated. A wave of that audience comes on over to other places. But that wasn't because of me covering drama. It had nothing to do with it, right? So hopefully that makes sense. Now, to answer that original question, what do I think of the drama? Does it need to stop? What I would say is, I guess drama is unnecessary, but it's inevitable. It's always going to happen. Some of it isn't even drama. It's just simple disagreements, misunderstandings, but then people label it as drama, right? Maybe the word drama gets used way too often on YouTube, but it is a key buzzword, so people will use it. It's just one of those things, right? Have I used the word drama? Yes, but it was been used in a more light-hearted tone, like when I've exposed Betty Hayward, when I've exposed Bella V, when I've exposed this person and that. It's like, oh wow, shocking, but shocking in a light-hearted, good, positive way with a positive twist and spin on it, where when people see it, they'll be thinking, oh, here we go again, negative. And then they watch it and think, oh, this is a surprise, this is something different for once. So that's what separates me from other humans, okay? Is there anything else I need to add on about my thoughts of it? Well, as for my coverage, I mainly cover it, the drama conflict, is if it ties in with Dylan Rounds in some way, because it's relevant. If it's relevant, it's relevant, it needs to be talked about. It could generate new ideas, new discussions, pieces of evidence, whatever. Or maybe just to tie up loose ends within the case and tie up loose-ended misunderstandings. Been quite a few misunderstandings within the Dylan Rounds community, which has then led to conflict and then escalated to drama, right? When Salty Pancakes has had his mini meltdowns with me, it's because of a misunderstanding, and that was all. It was a short-term, small-scale drama scenario, but that was all because of misunderstanding on his end. Unfortunate, but it happened, right? So sometimes drama doesn't always kick off immediately. It's like a little bit of resistance, and then it can build, then it can intensify, and then it goes from there, and then it can be labeled as drama, right? So I don't know if anyone can answer it, but all these characters, what we see, both the YouTubers, content creators, or wannabe content creators who are desperate to reach the top or get monetized as soon as possible, they want to do it as soon as possible. You know, the first thought on their mind is, oh, set my channel up, get enough subscribers, get the PayPal in, get the Cash App in. It's like want, demand, millennial-like entitlement. I want it now, I want it straight away, but not work towards it, not put in the effort, okay? Now, I've done YouTube since 2013, but when it started going in the right direction properly was in 2020, okay? So from 2020 onwards, but a lot of time and effort has been put in, more so arguably within the Dylan Rounds case. A video almost every single day for a year straight, hardly any breaks, and almost all videos being 1 hour long. Highly intensified. No one else, not a single human on this earth has matched my stamina, and that's just being realistic on this case. May not apply to other cases out there. Maybe in the future, if I do move on, I might not have the same amount of videos on a particular case, but at least this moment in time, there's like history that this is what's happened, and it's still ongoing for now at least, right? So yeah, a lot's gone on. So just leave your comments down below, of course, right? What about the drama which isn't really involved in Dylan Rounds? Like you could say maybe Pancake's GoFundMe, or maybe Kaylee's GoFundMe, or something to do with Jim Terry. If it's to do with missing people, right? It might be not to do with Dylan Rounds, but if it's to do with missing people, Dylan Rounds technically is a missing person. Kenny Veach is a missing person. It's still that theme, it's still relevant overall to what I've been looking at, so that's why I will take a look at it. And if these key people involved in drama have originated from the Dylan Rounds case, which is true, then you can look and see, think, maybe forecast, predict the path of destruction that can be caused elsewhere down the line. Because before anyone does show resistance, let's not forget Brookie. There seemed to be a fair consensus there from both Pancake viewers, or some of them at the time, and mainly Jim Terry audience members, and people from further afar, from my channel, and more so Candice Cooley's following, all tutting and disappointed within Brookie someone that claimed to have had a rapport with Brenner, met up with him in Weber County Jail and started talking and trying to reveal the truth and all that, and yet it never happened. And if it did happen, no action was done or taken, so it was all a big lie. The person, Brookie, exposed, ran away, did whatever, I think involved themselves in a different case, not sure which one, but it was a missing person one, could have caused more disruption possibly. Then they came back to Salty Pancakes channel and she was welcomed there. So if people praise Salty Pancakes, okay, like his followers and hardline supporters, why are you allowing a liar in and welcoming them, knowing what they have done, disrupting and time wasting the case in Dylan Rounds, making a mockery of it? What do you think about that? Let me know your thoughts in the chat, right? What's happened since with Brookie? Faded away once again, but it was looking ahead, right? Whether it be drama, ongoing, or fading away slightly, it was just looking at the direction of where a person was heading, because if they were going to another case, they could cause more disruption and trouble and damage down the line. What's done is done here in Dylan Rounds, but it's what happens further on down the line. Just like Candice Cooley, Justin Rounds with their Dylan Rounds legacy and helping other families out there who've been impacted, networking, reaching out. It's kind of like the same here with the drama, reaching out to see which direction that drama is heading in, okay? If people don't understand it, the best way to symbolize it is drama may originate from somewhere and then it can go off in a different what's it called? Directory to I'm not even going to say that word. A certain direction the drama can go in. It's almost like a tornado or a hurricane, and you just got to look out on the weather report to see which way is it heading. Does it involve you? Is it nearby to you, which could suck you in, just like how it has done with many people on the YouTube streets, as people like to call it, right? So maybe if it's close to home, or it's relevant to you, or someone you know is sucked in, it can bring you in as well, and then the darkness looms over you all. If it's coming right at you, maybe there's not much you can do. If it's coming right at you, it's either because you're the problem, or you've triggered them, so they're coming directly after you, or you're just in the spot where another person is being targeted. Just like how you're in an area where a hurricane, tornado is coming on through, right? Leaves a path of destruction and you could get, affected negatively in some way. So yeah, treat it as a weather report, okay? Of course, maybe it's not the longest chat here, discussion about it, but just so you get my ideas. Now, all in all, is there any reason, like, do I enjoy drama? I don't really think too much about it. There might be the odd few times where you hear the argument and you're thinking, ooh, what's going on here? But that's a normal, natural reaction, right? When it doesn't involve you, you can become the audience member. Does that make you a good person? Not really, but sometimes maybe there's not much you can do, and other times you just simply don't want to get involved because then it just makes you worse off. So yeah, I can understand when you're not a part of it and you can just sit back and watch, then maybe it's a little bit entertaining in a way. I mean, you've got to think, if you got all those US shows in the US, drama shows, or what do you call it? Jerry Springer, and then what other shows go on back then? People in the audience and crowd clapping, cheering, chanting, ooh, boo, yay, whatever, like that, then why can't the same happen on YouTube? It will happen. It's just what humans do, right? So that's how I might think at times. Ooh, here we go again. What about when it comes into Dylan Rounds? When it comes directly into Dylan Rounds, more so now, I'd be thinking, oh no, we don't want to go backwards now. We don't want to cause any more confusion. I don't think this is necessary here. But maybe cover it a little bit to try and make sense and diffuse it, right? And people could say, yeah, but don't drag yourself in, it'll get worse. Well, if I have tried making sense of something, it's not backfired yet, so I guess just keep doing what I'm doing, right? Just like what I'm doing right now, okay? So without getting too hard or heavy with the past, maybe people in the chat were able to give their point of view, because I do feel that those watching right now, besides the regulars, right, and even people deep in the background watching right now, okay, I feel some of you probably were around channels where there was drama in the past and you saw it unfold. Maybe you can make more sense of it than someone like me in the comment section or just the live chat itself, right? And go from there. If there is a key factor which caused it all off, set it off, I mean, then maybe there's a factor which can end it all or at least reduce it, right? I mean, it's like pancakes and Jim Terry, the way that's been so back and forth. The only way the intensity of the drama would have never happened if those two people never met. That's pretty much it, right? You can separate them apart, you can platform them elsewhere or deplatform them, but they're always going to be, you know, referencing one another, calling each other out. Now, maybe more now for the past few months, it's been lesser known channels or non-content creators who have channels on YouTube that have been called out and dragged into stuff. Maybe. I've heard Cut and Shoot's name dragged for it. I've heard maybe Arkansas's name dragged for it. Miss T's name dragged for it. Is it of a certain gender? I don't know, to be honest. I mean, does it really matter? Well, maybe not, but, you know, if we can look out for these little patterns, it might, you know, fill the jigsaw puzzle, right? I mean, when I look at the viewer percentages, it's almost like 50-50 or so when it comes to like the gender of people that watch my videos. Maybe it's more dominated by males, but that's only because I do those gaming shorts, which majority of gamers appearing watching my videos are males, so that's the only imbalance there. But if you're focusing more on mystery and cases, there's a fair portion of females that watch, right? So that's all good, that's fine. But in terms of overall drama and conflict, the names that run through, the names that are called out by Jim Terry or maybe Salty Pancakes, what gender does it tend to be? I mean, you got Huggy Bear called out as something, Sketchy AF being called out. I don't know what gender they are. Does anyone know? You've got, well, not so much drama, but Lincoln Kane's name mentioned, whoever that guy is. Anybody else? I'm not sure. Maybe it's a mix of genders, but I don't know. It just felt like maybe it was focused more on one side with people being called out and targeted. Maybe a certain set of people are targeted because they are seen by the attacker as vulnerable. I don't know. I mean, like the people that might look up to a certain channel which could be considered dark. Maybe it's because they are vulnerable themselves. They've been around those type of people in the past, so they're used to it in some way. So they look up to those individuals on YouTube or wherever and just follow and listen to the orders and nod their head. And then maybe down the line when they do wake up or have the confidence to break away or the strength to, that's what they do, but it's not always immediate, right? So there we go. I think we've literally summarized it in a matter of 25 minutes. I was going to say it was a bit shorter, but still enough time and length for decent discussions in the chat. I know Matt Lingo might be talking about his compressor or his package being delivered, but aside from that obscurity, hopefully people were able to focus tonight on Dylan Round's case, outside of the box thinking, and of course, if you haven't already catched up, make sure to watch my earlier video on the Idaho 4 case. A link will be down below in the pinned comments. For now, it's time to, call it a night and go to sleep. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. For now, goodbye and good night.